Releasing cool new games on the 3DS is such a waste. Another day, another article for me to destroy over on Kotaku and or Polygon. I mean, at this point in time, these news agencies for video games are pretty much a joke. Do you really think that games being released on 3DS in this current year is a bad idea? So basically, what they're talking about is games that are coming out on 3DS that would be better suited for the Nintendo Switch. Well, actually, just the fact that they're not on the Nintendo Switch. Atlas revealed that Persona Q2, the sequel to 2014's Persona Q, is going to be going over on 3DS and not the Switch. So there you go. But why are you upset that it's coming to 3DS? There's lots of people who still have 3DSs. Also, upcoming remakes, Luigi's Mansion, Bowser's Inside Story, they're going on to the 3DS and not the Switch. You know, it's not like Nintendo announced the newest Mario, Metroid, Zelda, or Smash Brothers on 3DS. These are kinda side entries to the series. Even a Luigi's Mansion remake isn't that big of a game, to be honest. I'm sure it'll sell quite a few copies, but it's not like it's the newest Mario, Metroid, or Zelda, as I said before. So I don't really understand why an individual would be upset that they're going on 3DS and not the Nintendo Switch. They take a jab at 3DS for having so many versions of the 3DS itself. Then they go on to say that Nintendo believes that the reason for these releases, the 3DS and the Switch, can coexist. Therefore, there's still games being released for an older, outdated 3DS instead of a newer Nintendo Switch. Okay, I get that. At the same time, not all the companies releasing 3DS games are Nintendo. Therefore, other companies must believe that there's enough of an install base to release games for the 3DS. I mean, this guy sits here and says he doesn't believe that the Nintendo Switch is a home console because he hasn't had it docked since the 80s. Man, you're taking some jabs at Nintendo for really nothing. Can you blame a company like Atlas for having a game in the works as a sequel and then not having enough time to completely port over and understand the Nintendo Switch to make that specific game for the Nintendo Switch? What if the entire install base had bought it on 3DS, right? Because it was on 3DS, Persona Q, and then they didn't decide to buy a Nintendo Switch, or still haven't, and they won't. And then you release Persona Q2 on the Switch, and people are like, well, I didn't play the first one, so... You know what I mean? Tough luck, right? You're not gonna get a Switch out of me for this single game right here. Would people buy a Switch for a Luigi Mansion remake? Maybe. People who played it on the GameCube. People who didn't get a chance to play it on GameCube back in the day. But would they buy it for Bowser's Inside Story or Persona Q2? I don't really think it's going to sell billions of Switches. And by comparison, if you look at how many 3DSs there are versus the Nintendo Switches that are out on the market right now, it's definitely a massive contrast. Is the Nintendo Switch catching up? Absolutely. But it's not there yet. And these games, they're not exactly going to be the biggest sellers on the market. I doubt any one of these games is going to become Game of the Year when they do get released, especially on 3DS. So what's the complaint in here? If they were released on the Switch, they would have slightly better graphics and you would be able to play them on the Nintendo Switch. Is that really what you're saying? You said you haven't had your Switch docked in a long time. Cool. Thumbs up. So then what's the point if you already have downgraded graphics on the Switch because you're using it in mobile form? Like I said, there would be a pretty good argument to say I would love to see these games blown up on the big television screen, but to say that it's just inconvenient to be forced to pull out a charger for your 3DS and I'm sorry, not use, but dust off your 3DS, that's pretty sad coming from a website that claims to be a gaming journalistic type of website and talks about gaming news. Pretty crazy. I mean, I know it's difficult for you, especially when you play games for a living, but yeah, from time to time, you're gonna have to pull out your old game consoles and do a little bit of work. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Do you believe that these games being released on 3DS is a complete waste, or do you think the install base of the 3DS is great? But I just don't think these games are the ones that would sell the Nintendo Switch to people. I mean, I could be completely wrong, and I'm not saying they're bad games. I just don't think they would attract casuals as much as a company would want them to. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. It's pretty early for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you just to leave a thumbs up, like and share this video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and let me know your personal opinions, as well as subscribing. I'm on the way to 1 million subscribers. Hopefully you'll be there when I get there. I'm your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out. As always, good gaming, God bless, and thank you for taking the time out to watch this video.